Ben Perkins preached last Sunday on Zoom. You all got to be together on Zoom, which was a blessing, hey? Especially for those who aren't often in the sanctuary. It was a mitzvah for them, a blessing for them, for everyone to be together in that way. I listened to Ben's sermon twice, and here's the thing he said is that when I go away, you guys will continue to do social justice work. And wouldn't that be a great way to honor our time together, to amplify all of the justice work we do and the way that we have focused on racial justice? And I think that's almost 100% correct, except for this. It is my hope that when I leave, that what you know is that our desire and longing for God necessitates justice work. That is, justice work is both the product and the practice by which we long for God. We don't do justice work because we want to be right, though we don't mind being right, except when being right means that we don't talk to people who are wrong. So I want us to do right for the right reason, and that is for us to be connected and to long for God. So I want to talk to you this morning about desire. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I was brought up in a church that taught me that desire is evil, corrupt, perverting, and wrong. How many heads can I get to nod? Amen. So I would like to resuscitate desire for us because I believe that there is a connection between our own desire and our desire for God and God's realm, out of which social justice is the practice and the product. We were made by God, and God knew us since we were in the womb. We know this from Psalm 139, I have known you since you were inside your mother's womb. We know that we were made in God's image, and we know that God wanted company and so created humanity. We know then that maybe God had a desire, if we can anthropomorphize God in that kind of way. John 3:16, which is usually on the side of a football field and means evangelicalism, but actually means that God desired love with humanity and so sent an emissary of God's own self, whom we call Jesus. That we should have desires, that we should long, is as common as dirt and godly as godly can be. I want to say then that our desires are holy. If God is holy and God desires, then our desires are holy. We know that when children come out from between their mother's legs, one of the first things they long for is to eat, to find a breast to suckle, to be close. We know that a mother's desire is to hold and hug the child, right? Isn't that what happened when you caught that baby yesterday, Betsy? It is common as dirt for a child to desire to be comforted with food and touch. And then pretty soon a desire for that changes when a child discovers candy or bright colors. And so a child desires moving across a room by either crawling or toddling to get a piece of candy that's on the other side of the room, or some flashy light or some beautiful color. And so we know that desire gets a child up and teaches them how to walk on their two legs if it's physically possible for them. And then we know that we desire to go fast, because the faster we can get to the candy, the sooner we can have it. And that leads to tricycles and fast cars and motorcycles. We know that we long to have our hair be blown back. Even my short little hair, I want it to be blown back by the wind because I'm on a fast bicycle. I know that I desire my wife. I long to be in her presence and to touch her, to see her smile at me, and to know that I am seen by her, and I desire to see her back. I desire her in my eye sockets. You know what this is like, to go to the fabric store and see the fabric that you desire to mold into something beautiful. Our desires are common as dirt and holy. I know that our desires get thwarted. I desire to drink a lot of wine all the time. And really what I want is relief. And what I want is for my mind to slow down. My true desire then is to slow down and to be at rest. And so my desire for wine recedes, especially on a Saturday night, because I long to come here and tell you a true thing on Sunday morning. We confuse desire with domination. I want this, and I will dominate anyone who gets in my way of this. I want the red rubber ball. It's what I wanted most when I was in grade school, but we couldn't afford it, and I couldn't save up enough of my allowance to get a red rubber ball. But I learned on the playground that I can't tackle the kid who gets it seemingly all the time, so that I could have the object of my desire. It's why we have community to teach us to tame our desire in community, or for our community to say to us, what you're desiring is not yours to desire, rather it is mine. And this is why we need to be able to make mistakes in community, because we are learning and training our desire. Churches all over the Boston area and in the suburbs, people are deciding again why they want to go to church. Twist of plot? I don't think so, and I'll tell you why. People have been going to churches because it's what their parents did, or somebody bought the pew, or somebody donated the altar cloth, or somebody did something, and it's what we do to get dressed up. But when the pandemic hit, people are like, oh, hell no. I'm not going to do that thing that isn't a true thing anymore. I'm only going to go to church if somebody could tell me a true thing, or if I could tell a true thing in front of people who I need to hold me up so that I can go on. I think that one of the truest things we have is our desire. desire to not be alone, desire to be touched, desire to be given something when we can't do it for ourselves. I think that one of the reasons that we might decide that, oh yes, we will be in church is because there are desires that I have, and it could be that all of these desires are training us and me to desire God. For when we are able to move our longing, when we are able to train our longing, when we are able to name our longing, it teaches us to desire God, to desire to be in God's presence, to go to the place, using the practices that help us find the way to be in God's balm, to be longing for God, which is, according to Rumi, our connection to God. And in that place, in that divine space, in that holy place, we find that even when we aren't well, we can be connected. Even when our desires are twisted, we can know that we are loved beyond all, knowing that even when there's trouble in the world, and there is always trouble in the world, there is a place that we can go for rest and respite, no matter what else is happening in the world. Beloved, what I long for when I leave this place to you is that you will so long for God, that you will be moved to do mighty things, because mighty things are the practice and the outcome of desiring divine space. I'm an old woman now. It's why I get to retire. And I don't know if this is only for old folk, but when I am in the space of the divine, and that's often with you here, you who have taught me to train my desire for you and for God, I find such sweetness, such respite. I'm not anxious anymore for those little few minutes when I am in divine space. This is what I wish for you, beloved ones, is to know the sweetness of God, who is in that divine place, which can be and is this divine space. Long for everything you long for, because it will teach you to long for God, which is the great sweetness while we're alive, whether we're here or gone. It is my wish for you.